Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, I'm not going to pick any locks in this one, but I'm just mainly going to talk about uh, my lock picking journey and experience and everything. And it's basically a rambling type of video. But how I got into this. All right, so when I was a kid in Houston, when we were living in Houston, we had a house, and the bathroom doors had those interior bathroom door types where you could lock it from the inside, but you couldn't unlock it from the outside. There was no key, but there was a little hole there, and if you took a toothpick and you pushed it in there, it would bypass the lock mechanism. It was designed that way. It was kind of like, inconspicuous. And that was, I guess, probably the first lock that I ever bypassed or picked or whatever. And so I had it in the back of my mind that it was kind of interesting. You would watch, Hollywood's not really good for accuracy on lock picking either. Just like with knives, it's not always accurate. With lock picking, it's much worse. You'll see them, pick open a door without using a tension wrench. And it can be done with certain tools, but still, you start picking up on things. But I thought I bought it when I was in the service, but I got a small Southord pick set, It was leather, had a leather case, double-sided, so it wasn't super small, and contained, tension wrenches and everything else. And I messed around with picking locks, trying to, but I never had much success. This was before there was like internet and YouTube and all that other stuff. So the way you learned stuff was books, unless you had, like some apprentice or someone took you under your wing, you learned it through books. And I had various books on lock picking that I could get, and stuff like that. But it's not the same as someone just talking you through it. So I had this kit, and one day I was bored and I was sitting watching TV, and I said, you know what? Let me try this on. I didn't have a commercial, but it was a Master Lock number 3, and I put the tension wrench in there. No, this is too wide. No, that's good. I put the tension wrench in there, and I got a pick, and I was just messing around with it, just pushing up on pins and everything, not really knowing what I was doing, just playing around with it, and I got it to open. And when it opened, that's what addicts a lot of people to lock picking. I haven't tried this one in a while, so I don't know how to get this one open. I'm single pin picking it. And it should be easy. It's a 4-pin. Let me put some special lube in there. Oops, sorry, earthquake. Anyways, I was sitting there, and I was picking the lock, and it opened. And that rush, like, wow, that feeling of, man, I did this without a key and everything else. And that was what basically hooked me. It was that rush, that feeling. And in lock picking, you're basically, for me, that was my motivation, was the thrill of opening a lock without a key and using, picking methods. I really didn't know what I was doing. And at first, most of the locks that I opened up was through raking and stuff, using a Bogota, or this is a worm. A worm actually works a little bit better and lasts a little bit longer because the peaks are not as sharp. But a Bogota does wonders, man, on opening locks. And you don't have to know what you're doing with a Bogota. All you got to do is, see, I got one of them to move. Now we got to find the line. I forget Master Lock. You usually have to use a little bit more force. It's not finesse. It's more force. Let me get a thicker pick in there. But that hooked me. And then I started watching YouTube videos, and I found out that, people have been picking locks for a while. It's a thing, it's a community. And so I was watching a lot of videos, and occasionally I'd comment. And, I had a camera, and I had a YouTube account that I had made just for, I'm going to get rid of this guy right now just because I'm embarrassing myself. Let's see if I can worm him open. Oh, sorry, I'm bouncing everything. I always found with master locks, some of them were easy, and some were you had to learn the lock basically. And this is embarrassing. Can't get a 4-pin lock. But I'm honest on I was always honest on my lock channel. I don't rig things and make things look easy. You can make yourself look good when you're not really that good. If you wanted to do that, but that was not my intention. My whole purpose for doing this channel on lock picking was to demonstrate my progress. And as you can see, I've fallen behind badly. If you can't get a master lock number 3 open, because there are only 4 pins, and well, let's just show you what the core is here. This is a master lock core most of the time. It's just 4 little pins, no security pins in there or anything else, and the less number of pins you have, the easier it is to pick. And if you don't have security pins, then they're rakeable. Basically, you can just rake your way in. Let's see if we can rake our way in this one. Well, what I did with this was I wanted to practice, and I didn't want to carry. I was always carrying a big heavy lock with me. I'd put on my belt loop a padlock, what I was going to take with me to pick. And I'd clip it on my belt, and I wouldn't always have a key with me, but I'd have picks. And I'd just sit there. Oh, this is a defective one, see? Some of them have got, like there's a spring messed up on it, and you've got to tilt it a certain way. Because this one, I found it at a job. Let's see if we can worm our way in here. All right, you need to get bottom of the keyway tension. There, like that. And you just kind of, wow, there it is. That's how fast it can go. You don't have to know what you're doing, really. You just got to wiggle the pins. Let me see if I can single pin pick this guy. Winder back here. Click. See how long it's taking? There's another one up here. Or you can do things sometimes, when you don't have security pins, you can just zip, like turn your pick up. I don't know if I can get this. This was supposed to be a discussion video, not a picking video. Anyways, I would carry this in my pocket, and I'd carry picks. And of course, I bought way too many picks and way too many gadgets and tools and stuff, And with these, you don't even have to look at it. You just get the tension wrench there and your pick. And you can have this at your waist, your arms down. And because a lot of times in mini jobs, there's downtime, or there's time when there's not a lot to do, or break or something like that. And I'm not going to mess with this anymore. Let's talk. But I started off messing with the easy locks, the most available and everything else, and progressed, to more difficult locks, harder to pick. Started gutting locks and taking them apart and everything, and really got into it. And I was having fun. I met a lot of people in the community, and it was a very nice, fun and everything. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to start getting into older locks because I like them. I like the way they look and the way they're made and everything compared to, modern locks. And Yale was one of the ones I got into. Now, see this? It's a 1877, 1876, and 1878. They're just really old locks, and just learning the mechanism. This is it's a lever-like mechanism. All right, so they're like this. This is a bigger version of it, and I got to where I would take them apart. You can't just do these pins here and take this type of lock apart. You have to pick it first, because even if you do that, this thing is still locked, and it's just a spring mechanism that once these different levers line up, with the key and everything and position just right, it allows this to come back, which pops the shackle. And there's just a little latch there. But yeah, I started getting into that, and I really, I started getting into PDF files on old lock catalogs, and then I bought myself, old lock catalogs, so you can just see, oh, I need to go get this one, and the collecting bug starts hitting. I'll show you. There's more locks hiding in boxes out there. There's just locks everywhere, and if you don't know, I walked away from the channel. I was kind of getting burned out on it, and I had a personal issue with someone within the Locksport community. Now, you're going to have issues with, just regular people commenting on anything when you start a channel. And that was my first YouTube channel, was, this lockpicking channel. And I'm not going to name the person or anything, but this person basically turned on me. We always would say, my friend, and, do all this other stuff, really acting like a friend and everything. And because I mentioned something about our crazy president at the time, that was it. That's all I said. I said, our loco president. And, boy, he must have loved the president or whatever at that time, because, man, he sent me an email saying, like, remove me from your spam mailing list or something. It's like a form letter you would send to someone that sent you some junk email or whatever, He not only said, I thought he was joking, so I replied to him. I said, what's this about? And he goes, there's 3 things you should never talk about in a lock-picking channel: religion, sex, or politics. Well, I didn't mention either religion or sex, so it had to be politics, and I figured out what it was. And it's like, my God, man. Just because someone has a different political belief than you, but they like the same thing as you, all of a sudden now he not only wanted to unsubscribe from me, he wanted me to unsubscribe from him. He didn't want to block me or anything. He just wanted me to stop following, stop doing all this. Like, fine. And after that, that soured me. And you shouldn't, I learned something from that. You shouldn't necessarily stop something that you enjoy just because of some jerk, basically, with their stupid opinions and everything, ruined it for you. And it did. It ruined it for me, because, I said, all these other people I know are friends and everything, but you never know, one of them might be lurking in there that's like this, and they're just waiting to ambush you. And like I said, I just ramble when I'm picking. I talk, Some people don't do that. They can't chew bubble gum, and walk at the same time. But I can talk and pick. I'm not slamming people that can't do that. But I just ramble on a lot of times about what's going on in my life, or, making little various comments when nothing's happening on lockpicking. And yeah, that got to me. That basically got me to switch from lockpicking back into knives. I always liked knives, and I just started my knife channel. And I found out there that it's the same thing can happen, and it has happened for me on the knife channel. where someone who was supposedly a friend turns out to be a jerk, and you have to ban them. But I didn't stop my channel. I let it. I continued it on with my life because I said, you know what? No matter where you go, or what you do, if you run into enough people, there's always going to be the ones that are not shining examples in that community. Let's put it that way. Really, and it's like they said, one bad apple can spoil the whole bunch. If you got a friendly group and everything, and then you get the type in there, they're just instigators and wanting to start crap, and enjoy other people's misery. Yeah, that can take you down. But I just wanted to say, anybody starting in lock picking, if you're gonna start up a channel and everything, don't let the comments get to you. And if you're enjoying what you're doing, keep on doing it. It's not always easy, It can be expensive. It can be an expensive hobby. Trying to, you're chasing another lock that you haven't picked. Like if you get to where 4-pin locks, yeah, you might go back to them, eventually. But you want a little bit more challenge, and you want harder locks and everything. So even master lock makes good lock, but their best ones are their lockout tagout. Those are the hardest ones to pick. They're plastic body. They put them in the worst housing. I don't have one here. Oh yeah, here's one. They put them in a plastic housing, but man, these are some tough ones to pick. They're designed so that they're easy to cut, or it's when you're working on electricity and electrical stuff, a lot of times you don't want someone flipping the circuit breaker. Somebody would come back there and they'll go up there. And Intel, we had this, and we had a tag. We had a lockout tag with our picture and everything else, and a number to contact and all that, pager number, all that. So that if somebody came up there and said, oh, we got to cut this lock off. No, somebody might be working on that. But, yeah, the pins on these. Now, when you pick this, you've got to be careful, because you see those holes there for pins? You can rotate this to where it self-destructs, basically. And the only way to fix it is to take it apart. And it's glued together. So you're going to break it. It can be put back together, but it's not easy. But yeah, that's just some of the oddities you run into in lock picking. Is you think, wow, first you thought that locks were, like everybody else. It's rare to be able to pick a lock and everything. And then you run into the easy ones, the really easy ones that most of the time are the standard one you see. And these are good against, bullets, and usually a hardened shackle, and everything else. But there's just a bunch of different ways of getting into them. And they're not as secure as they look. And once you start realizing that, to me, it was always a challenge of what next type of lock can I pick, See, this is boron carbide and octagonal or hexagonal, whatever, making it hard to hit it with bolt cutters and cut it. It's fairly easy to pick. I'm not going to pick it right now. Embarrass myself. I can pick it, I know, but yeah, I basically took a break, from this lock picking channel, and I still like to pick locks. I just didn't do it as much. I really did. It just like for a year or two, I just completely, I didn't touch a lock. I looked at all this stuff, so I need to clear this away. But now I'm getting back into it just occasionally, because I got rusty. I can't. If you haven't picked a lock for a while and you go back to the easy ones and you can't even pick the easy ones, you go, uh-oh, I need to start. If it's a skill you would like to keep, I need to start practicing, because I've lost some skills here. But it's no biggie. I mean, sometimes you need to go back and learn, relearn it. See, like here, master locks usually require heavier tension to open them. Let's see if it'll worm. because I know this guy doesn't have any spool. All this fancy stuff, but you still basically got that same core in there. Worm your way into it. But see, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this lock and I'm going to sit in a chair and I'm going to watch TV or something, and I'm going to mess with it until I can pick it open one way or another, single pin pick, rake, or whatever. And what I would do, if I open the lock by raking everything, I would try to do single pin picking, because it's got to be able to be open. If you can do it raking, then you should be able to do it single pin picking. But the problem with single pin picking is there's a few problems. One is you don't always know what pin you're on, and the other one is just checking pins to see if they need to be moved and everything. I'm just applying heavier tension. I keep forgetting. Master locks usually require a little bit heavier tension to find the binders. Here, click, click. Now, I pushed one too far there. I'll let it fall back down. This used to be an easy lock to pick, man. This used to be an easy one. I don't know why I'm having problems. But yeah, that's another thing. Lock picking is different. On a knife review, you know how long, basically how long it takes to talk about it, you know, or do something. Lock picking, you have no idea. You pick up a lock, you don't know if you're going to be able to open up in 5 minutes or 30 minutes or not open it at all. And so a lot of the filming on lock picking videos never got shown to anybody, because God, who's going to watch a 20-minute video of you not opening locks? Anybody can not open a lock. I basically wanted to do stuff to, not to show off, but to inform people and to document my progress from not knowing how to do it to starting to pick up a little bit, to getting into different kinds of locks, not just, you know, these kind, but you know, the old school, different kind of keys and different ways of, you know, picking them. Let me see, 4 levers. These are lever locks. This is supposed to be a thing. This slides up. I was trying to move the whole thing. But yeah, you get in there, you basically find a bolt. Usually I would use like an Allen wrench. That's 90 degrees. I'd get in there and tension it, and then you use wires a lot of times. Strong wires, like meat skewers and stuff like that, and you go in there and you're basically doing the same thing. But anyways, anybody that's starting off in lock picking, don't get discouraged. And if you like it, stick with it. I know people that I started when I was in there were doing it, are still picking locks. So, but you see a lot of people that do it. They just come in for an objective, and after a while it gets expensive. Like I said, you know, unless you're a locksmith, you know, you're buying lock pins, you're cutting your own keys, you're doing, you know, a lot of different tools and specialized stuff just for locks. So yeah, it can be an inexpensive hobby. You can make your own picks. You can find locks thrown away, even if the lock shackle is cut. The lock itself is still useful. I'd find a lot of those, and yeah, it's a journey. It's something that I know I can do, but I need to practice with it. You know, I can't. I used to have this clipped to my keychain and carry it all around so I can run the warded locks, car, you know, locks. Here's a little worm, different, you know, cabinet keys and stuff like that. And then in my wallet, I would carry basic pick sets, you know, with hooks, rakes, tension wrenches, stuff like that. I still carry those, but I don't use those as much. And this, like I said, I don't carry it. This, a lot of times, was because I'd be at work and somebody locked their keys in their door, and I'd ask them, you know, hey, mind if I try to get it open? Want to just learn on your car? And sometimes I get them, and sometimes I wouldn't. That's where I saw one person. They were using their shoelaces, and they were getting there where they could loop around the door lock and lift it up. But anyway, yeah, you learn a lot of different ways about bypassing locks and picking locks and everything else. But it can be a lot of fun, and the people, for the most part, you know, like in any other sport in here, are very, very good. I think that's what let me down so much, is I had an illusion built up that it was a perfect community, that it didn't have any infighting, it didn't have any bad people. It was nothing but good people in there. And like I said, for the most part, it was. I'm not in the community anymore. I'm not talking about people that, you know, I don't follow a lot of lock picking videos and stuff like that. So this is not, you know, drama about somebody you know. You might know them. You might have watched the videos. But anyway, there you go. Just thought I'd throw that out there. Just give you a little heads up on my journey. Like I said, I'll continue. I'd like to get this channel up to 1,000 subscribers eventually, just because I started it first. And I'm doing my knife channel, and it's already way past 1,000. And I started it afterwards, you know. But yeah, there's a lot more people into knives than there are into picking locks. I understand that. But yeah, like I said, you can get carried away with locks. As I say, you know, this took over the top of a desk, and then I just made these different shelves out of shelving stuff. But yeah, like I said, it's a hobby. It can get crazy sometimes, but there you go. I've rambled on long enough. I hope you've enjoyed that. Thank you for watching, and have a nice day.